Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. Today on the show, we're joined by the incredible Rachel Potter, a powerhouse vocalist and performer you may know from The X Factor or her star turns on Broadway in The Addams Family and Evita. Now, Rachel's taking center stage once again with Stages, a brand new album of reimagined Broadway classics, produced by David Wise, releasing on Joy Machine Records. This symphonic, show-stopping collection drops today, May 16th, and features an all-star lineup of guests from Broadway and beyond. With roots in musical theater and a heart in Nashville, Rachel brings her signature style and crystalline vocals to a project that's both nostalgic and refreshingly new. Let's dive in and hear more from Rachel herself about the journey to Stages, what the record means to her, and what's next. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it. Kind of wanted to talk about how you even got to that point. X Factor wasn't your first reality show. Was Legally Blonde before that?
Yes. I I auditioned for the Legally Blonde show in, I guess that was 2008.
Okay.
And then X Factor was in 2013. And funny enough, I was kicked off in the exact same positions for both in 11th place.
Were they?
I don't know what it is with me in number 11, but anyway.
Did you? Were you surprised at the different? Were they similar experiences, or were they very different in terms of
No,
being a
I
singer in a
mean,
reality competition?
to be fair, my experience with Legally Blonde was only about 1 or 2 days. So it was really a short-lived thing, and then it was like months later, and all of a sudden it aired, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I forgot that even happened. But X Factor was such a long, drawn out process, and I went and lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I had to go out there constantly. So it was really huge part of my life for that entire year, going back and forth to LA and being a part of all the different rounds and all of that. So yeah, that was definitely a bigger experience for me.
I'm always curious about that. When I talk to folks that do a lot of TV or movies, you can be surprised sometimes at the length of time it takes for a project to be released or what it looks like versus what you felt on the day you shot it. Uh,
Right.
and that has to be such a different experience, I would think, from stage. Uh, can you talk a little bit about what it feels like to you just recorded Stages, an album in the booth, and it's got to be fun to sing, but what's it like being on stage for musical theater? What drew you to that?
Oh, well, I actually started my love affair, if you will, with musical theater at Disney World. Um, I was working at the mall and someone was like, "You should go audition for Disney." So I went and I had no idea what I was doing and had like the most embarrassing headshot and resume of all time. Um, and somehow they gave me a call back for Ariel and the Voyage of the Little Mermaid show at Hollywood Studios. So you know, I enter this world and I'm like having to act and sing and portray this character, and I'm meeting all these like really amazing people. And I was offered my equity card, which is the union for musical theater that I didn't even know what it was. I just like got my equity card and it's like, is this good? I don't know. And um it was just like trial by fire, like just like dumped in the deep end. But I loved it. I just totally fell in love with it. And then I realized with my little cute new union equity card, I could go to New York City and go start auditioning for Broadway shows. So I started doing that, and that ultimately led to the right casting director saw me and asked me if I wanted to audition for the Legally Blonde reality show. But then once that aired, literally the next day after it aired, an agent from New York called me, a theatrical agent, was like, "Do you have an agent yet?" And I was like, "No." He said, "Do you want one?" Yeah. So I got to move to New York City with an agent in tow, which was so cool, and then started auditioning. But the experience of doing theater is so different from television because no one is filming it. So the experience for the audience only lives in that moment, and then it's over. And if you crack, if you mess up, it just lives in that moment, and then it's gone. But in television world, if you crack, if you mess up, that's going to live on YouTube for the rest of your God-given life. So I actually found myself extremely nervous in the situations for television for that very reason, because there was so much more pressure to be perfect and to do everything, right and not embarrass myself forever on the internet.
Did that feel different than recording on stages? Did the studio feel different than both?
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, in a studio, you have 1 million takes to get
That's
it
what
right.
I would think
Yeah.
with digital recording, yeah, that now everybody loves to punch and roll all of it.
Oh, yeah. Punching the entire thing. I mean, it's funny because I have My Days on the album, but I just went and sang at a gala and I was like, oh, this is the first time I've ever actually sung this all the way through in front of someone, you know? Um,
Hmm.
and it went great, but it was just like, oh,
Oh, got to
this
think
is
about my
different.
breath here. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, totally different experience. But now the Stages album is now going to translate to real life, and I'm going to start doing this in concert, in front of people. So that will sort of take on a different life of its own in that way as well. But there's nothing quite like reality television though, because they love to get in your head about like, if you don't do this right, like
Hmm.
your career is over. You're never gonna make it if you don't win this season of the X Factor.
Right.
Um, so even as like a 29-year-old woman, when I was on that show, I'm no longer 29. But when I was there, I I was so stressed and I was so full of anxiety and I was like, God, I can't believe these like 16-year-olds that I'm competing with are just so free and easy about it. But when I really look back on it, like they didn't really understand the weight of it, or
Mm.
perhaps that was better, that they're just like having a good time, and I over there was like, this is my last shot at my dreams. So it was it was trauma bonding for sure, and
Yeah, it's a
I
little bit of
never
a
want to do it.
foxhole.
Yeah, I never want to do it again. That's for sure. I've had some reality shows call since, and I'm not interested in in doing it again.
Well, I would think that we live in a time where there's so many jobs and avenues for careers and things you have to do that did not exist when I was a kid. I didn't know what influencing or social media, if that was. Uh,
Well, they didn't exist, to be
right,
fair, when you were
right.
a kid.
Uh, I am also
Or
not
me.
29.
Yep.
Um,
Nope. They didn't exist when I was a kid either. So,
I I could see, being at the mall, and obviously you're going to know Disney songs. We all knew everybody. It's impossible not to know some Disney songs. Uh, Power of Disney. But when you were a kid, realizing that I like to sing, this feels good. This is fun to do. I think I can rock this. What did being a singer look like to you then? What did you think that path might be?
well, I was born in 84 and I grew up in the 90s with I mean, come on, like the 90s music was great, especially 90s country, which I loved. I used to watch CMT all the time. And I think there was like part of it that my mom like felt safe about me watching country music because there wasn't going to be anything too crazy like as a
Mm,
kid for me to see. Um, but man, that 90s country music era was killer. Like Shania Twain, Faith Hill, the Dixie Chicks, like
hmm.
all of and then there were so many, George Strait was killing it back then. Rascal Flatts kind of came on the scene in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like there was some amazing music happening back then in country music. So that was in how I envisioned. Martina McBride was also a
Hmm.
big influence for me. Um, how I envisioned my life. Like I remember just combing through their little CD jackets and reading every word and all their thank yous and all the stuff about the different albums that they made and looking at their different pictures and imagining how I might pose on my album cover one day. Um, I still remember what I wanted my album cover to look like, and it was so 90s. Honestly, I should like make it happen. I should
Oh, you have
create,
to.
but it was like a bright blue electric chair with like a yellow background and like a big flower vase, and I'm just like draped over the thing, like just having so much fun. So
You
90s,
absolutely have to
but
do that. That would be great.
I really should. That would be funny. I'm gonna talk to a
And
photographer friend and make that happen.
yeah, I did all my high school in the 90s, and I'm really stunned by watching it come back around and be hot again. Like, yes,
Oh my
yes, you're
God.
right.
Tell me about it. All the styles that are coming back in, I'm like, oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
I
Just
walk into stores
what
and I'm like, is this, are y'all pranking me? Why is
I
that
know.
here?
Oh my God. And the low-rise jeans, like, please stay away from me. Do not even think about coming near
No
me with
woman
a
in my life
low-rise
wants those
jean.
back. Everyone I know is against this.
I mean, all I remember from those were just like you always had to be worried about your underwear popping out the back. Like if you just moved the wrong way, like there it was. Come
Ah,
on.
yeah,
It's doesn't
meanwhile,
deserve to come back.
I had stovepipe jeans that, could have fit an entire work
Yeah,
tour in each pant leg.
that's
Uh,
right.
yeah, yeah, and it's all somehow back. June goes around again. Um,
I know.
in in terms of the album, I love the mix of songs and some of the combinations of songs. Can you talk about selecting those and how some of the arrangements came to be?
Sure. I spent my foray into like the more pop world and the country world and where people really came to know me on X Factor was really like the second half of my career, and the whole first half was Broadway. So I started my career in, 2005, I think, at Disney World, and I was singing there, and then I moved to New York City in 2008, um, or 2009, and I started auditioning, and I went on tour with Wicked in 2010. I made my Broadway debut as Wednesday Addams in The Addams Family alongside Brooke Shields in 2011. And then in 2012, I originated the role of the mistress in Evita with Ricky Martin. So, there was this whole huge career that I was having over here in this that was not, necessarily in the mainstream limelight. And when I went to audition for the X Factor, I actually told them about all of that. So interestingly enough, they of course cut all of that out for my audition
Yeah,
that
you
made it to
finally could be an
television.
overnight success.
Yeah, so I told them my entire story, I told them everything that I'd done on Broadway, and but then, they cut to the part where Demi says, "So you know about the music industry?" I was like, "Well, no. I mean, like I know about Broadway, but I don't know how to go to Nashville and be a recording artist star. Like I don't know how to do that. That's why I'm here." Um, but they, sort of painted me as this like bartender who'd never done anything before. But the truth was is that I had devoted my whole life to this genre of
Yeah,
Broadway. But all I had ever put out was country. And I turned 40 this year, and I realized that I really felt it deep in my soul that it was important that I did another project, that I really wanted to reignite this side of myself. And, I've had three children, and they're all really small. Here they are. I've got a 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
oh,
Um, and, you know, that changes you. It changed so much in my life. It really refocused my priorities. And I felt like I also really lost a lot of my identity, and um, I was, for a while, it felt like I was just someone's mom, and like singing was just kind of a hobby and something that maybe I got to do for fun once in a while. Um, but I wasn't happy with my relationship with music anymore, and I wanted to change it and fix it. And then I really thought about like what is it that I've devoted my whole life to, and that's Broadway and a musical theater style of singing. That's what I like studied and devoted so much of my craft to learning how to do and do well. And so I think it would be tragic for me to never be able to highlight that in a way that can live on beyond me. Um, so that's why I wanted to do it. And I've been singing with symphonies since like 2014. I got involved with it was actually in country music, but it was kind of theatrical. It was singing country music through the decades with an orchestra in a show called Country Legends. And so I just really fell in love with the entire symphonic world. And I love singing with an orchestra. It's such a special experience because, I mean, it's just this wall of sound and, just the act of all these musicians coming together for one mutual purpose is just so beautiful. And it's so classic. And so I just really wanted to highlight both that, what I've been doing for the past 10 years, and then the musical theater world and marry the two for this symphonic Broadway experience album of stages. And then the theme behind the whole thing and the titling and why I chose the songs was really just I wanted to pay tribute and honor not only the physical stages that I have stood on and performed on all through these years, but also the metaphorical stages of life, in all the different stages of life that I've been through in both my personal life and in my entertainment life.
I love the idea of uh, wanting to reassess and rediscover and change your relationship to music. Was there a particular character or song that struck you as right that felt like you're in back towards that where you wanted to be?
Um, yeah, actually one of the songs I picked for the album is called My Days, and it's from The Notebook on Broadway. It's the newest of all the songs that are on the album. Um, and it was like, it really had a moment, like kind of went viral like last summer. Everybody was like obsessed with this song, and I heard it and I was like, I really just feel like this captures the why. And the whole message of the song is just that sometimes I feel like somebody else chose my choice, and that I'm just sort of a victim of circumstance, and that I want to take the reins back, and like I want to be proud of what I did with my time on this earth. And that's the whole message of that song. And so that's really why I chose to do this. It was like, it is really just for me, and I hope other people get joy out of it. But ultimately, like, this was just something that I wanted to do so that I could leave it all on the stage, and that if I die tomorrow, I can hit those pearly gates and be like, no, I'm good. I feel like I did it. I did what I was supposed to do. I left it all there. And I'm not having any regret, walking away from it. Like, and I don't want to wake up one day and be 75 and go, damn, I really wish I had whatever.
Yeah.
I'm such a big believer in not having regret, because I think it's something that is really painful for humans. And in our experience here, like, we gotta go for the things that we dream about, or else we end up bitter and regretful. And I don't want to live in pain for things that I can control,
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to me about all this today. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
The album comes out May 16th. Stages, folks can go listen to it at all the places we all stream music now. Uh,
Yes.
I really appreciate it. I know that this is fifth or sixth time in a row.
No, it's
But you're
great. I'm
absolutely
so
wonderful
happy
to
to
chat
chat
with.
with you.
Absolutely great
Yeah,
getting
you
to talk to you
too.
today. Have a wonderful
Yeah,
rest of
you
your
too.
day. Folks are going to
Yeah,
love
you
the
too.
record. And
Yeah,
really hope everything goes great for you.
I sure hope so. Fingers crossed. Oh God. Thank
Take
you
care.
so much. I appreciate you. All right, see ya.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.